Yeah, of course. It's hard to believe sometimes that I actually started in the industry in like 1987. I'd been DJing for a little while before that as well. I started DJing at school discos in the sort of 1983 or 82, something like that. Well, moved down to London to start working for DMC in '87. who were the people that owned Mix Mag and did the mixing championships, still do the mixing scratching championships. It was really right time, right place. Kind of arrived just as Mars had had a #1 record with Pump Up the Volume, and Cold Cut and S Express and Bomb the Bass were all having #1s as well. So DJs suddenly, the revolution had started. Suddenly people started facing the DJ as opposed to all just looking in different directions. That was a big thing, It's kind of more of people going to actually see the DJ work, and he became an artist and I was right there amongst the thick of it, really. I became editor of Mix Mag in 1988 when the editor left, and I was kind of dropped in the deep end to take care of things while they found a replacement, which they never did, and suddenly I ended up being editor for 3 years. And it really was some amazing years, 87, 88 through to 91 I was editor. And it was, the years of acid house and the raves, the illegal raves in the UK. And we're just reporting on this cultural revolution, this youth movement, which the UK's always been renowned for, be it punk or new romanticism or going back to the mods and rockers in the 60s. This youth culture has always been a big export for the UK, but and this was the biggest thing since rock and roll. It was like the electronic version of rock and roll, really, and to be a part of that, be right in the middle of it, was amazing. And I don't think we ever really thought that it would last as long as it has done. Here we are, 20 years later, and it really is still going strong. It kind of transcended fashions. People dressed up, dressed down, went through all different things, but the music stayed constant. And obviously it goes through various trends and fashions itself, and music, but generally, house music, the acid house scene, the movement is as strong today and as it ever has been around the world. The UK maybe has not been so strong as it was in the 90s. It became so huge in the 90s in the UK that it had to kind of implode and start all over again, because it got to the point where every high street shop that you walked into was playing house music, and my grandma knew who Pete Tong was. It had become so overground that naturally it had to go back underground, start all over again. So the 90s, it's not been as big as it was in the 90s in terms of sales and in terms of business and stuff. But I think internationally it's as strong movement as it ever has been, really. I think there's a lot of good pop music out. Again, it's that Kesha track, TikTok, that's a brilliant pop record. I wish I'd have written that. And there's lots of great pop records. There's lots of things that I do sometimes think I'm getting old when I'm listening to Radio 1 these days, though. I don't really get a lot of this R&B light kind of Tinchy Strider, N-Dubs, kind of Jason Derulo. But then I suppose, you go back and there's always been sort of lots of light pop records, and there's been great pop records through the years. I tend to remember the great ones. The bad ones you kind of forget as you get older. So when we were doing the Kylie stuff and the Pet Shop Boys, and then people look back to the 80s and they said the 80s was a bad decade, and then when you actually nip in and get the good stuff out, and the same was for the 90s, and I think it'll be the same for this decade as it draws to a close. There was a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of rubbish as well. That's just life. Sorting the rubbish from the good stuff is kind of what life's about a lot of the time. Making your choices, and off you go. I think there's been a lot of great bands come through this year. People like Florence, it was a brilliant album. Oh, it's just a pop album, really, more of an adult pop record, but I suppose, you know, I'm getting old.